Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Game Vortex in this very informal setting where I want to talk to you about a TV show, Arrow, specifically about the ending of season 7 and what are going to happen in season 8. And why do I have this tension, this candid discussion that I want to have, maybe slightly emotional as well, because this TV show for me, it's been with me for 8 years of my life. Not that I was particularly young at the time when it came out, but still I had a few ups and downs in my life, and I've always watched this TV show and Flash as well. I didn't really get into the Legends of Tomorrow, neither into the Supergirl, and just that's my personal preference. Now, I understand when we're going to talk about the Arrow is that the show has been going on for 8 years and it's not always been great. There's been ups and downs, and I think there's been quite a lot of downs. I'm not one of those people who hates on the characters like Felicity or Iris West, and a Flash, that some people just completely despise them and they're like, it would be so much better without it. Yes and no at the same time. There are times where it's necessary for the plot development. Sometimes it's a part of the comic books and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's our choice who to like and who not to like, but it doesn't mean that our decision dictates everybody else's preferences, And yes, there was a lot of downs. There's in particular some seasons like season 3 that I didn't like, season 5 I really liked. And what matters for me in the Arrow in general is that this group of characters that stuck around for so long, and I'm not one of those people who likes the shows to drag on, like The Walking Dead and the Lost. Lost for me because it started to unwind and fall apart long before the season 5. So, but this place in Arrow in particular is just something, it feels like a family. All the characters are just so close to each other, both in real life, as you can see on their Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. And it felt like they would never just leave that thing, And I kind of wished that it wouldn't end, and I wanted the end at the same time. And I was hoping that they can get to season 10 and just bam, axe it there, and the Flash would be on season 8 by then. But obviously, the speedsters, they moved the deadline and stuff for the Crisis on Infinite Earths. So I guess they kind of planned to do it now rather than later, because they knew that a lot of the shows probably won't exist by the timeline that they originally planned for it. But my biggest grudge that I have here, and it's kind of emotional for me, I just don't agree with the way they want to end Arrow. And I'll explain why. Obviously, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen season 7, the end of it, you see that Oliver Queen dies, and you've seen that in the crossover that he made a bargain with the Monitor, which I still like, okay. He made a bargain to save them. But originally I thought that the bargain would be to save them during the Crisis of Infinite Earths. But it wasn't. It was during that particular crossover with the book of, Destiny or something like that, and the Monitor, which technically the Monitor fucked everything up, He's the one who gave the book to the guy because he saw something instead of giving it to the heroes, and they probably wouldn't use it at all. Regardless, I just don't want it to end that way, and it's not because I don't agree that Oliver Queen should be dead, but it feels like they're trying to jump on this bandwagon of Marvel Cinematic Universe's particular Avengers Endgame, where they need to sacrifice the hero that started it all, the one that has the most emotion behind them, the most love from the people. Now, I love both Flash and Arrow, and I would say I love Flash a little bit more because of the quirky sense of humor and stuff like that. But if I had to choose between who is gonna die, I'd probably go with the Flash, because as you know from the comics, he's not really dead. He just goes into the Speed Force and later on he comes back, but regardless. Whereas Oliver, it's different. It's easier to retire this kind of character than to kill him off. Flash, you can't retire someone like that with the superpowers, Whereas someone like Arrow and Batman, the people who are normal, they don't have any super abilities and stuff. They are much more. It's just not right to kill them off. And the main point for me of frustration here is that that's not the only way to make someone a hero, is to kill them off and and that's it. In particular, compared to Barry and all that stuff, Barry has been through a lot of shit, but Oliver Queen in particular, after the island and everything that he did, the redemption, the stuff, he never kind of feels like he never got a chance to be happy, because everything that happens always derails everything and it comes back into the action. Like, give that guy a proper retirement. Everyone he knew was pretty much killed. His dad, his mom, the people close to him. Who else was that? Lance, Black Canary, right? Everybody. And he's gone through so much shit that killing him off just seems like one of those tricks that they need to do, just to make that bang pop ratings and things like that. You could have just plainly found a way to honor him as a hero and retire him, you know, kind of like in the Batman trilogy with the Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Just retire him and let him have his happy ending. And I know, because Emily Beth Rickards left, so kind of like it was planned, but at the same time it was sudden, so they had to rewrite the ending of the season 7, because the scene that you've seen with the monitor and the baby, it was supposed to be, as they said, in the beginning of the season 8. So could have retired that guy, and everybody knew that would be somewhere in the universe still existing, still happy. He got his own happy ending, you know, his happy life. Because I think in the comics he didn't die in the Crisis on Infinite Earth, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you know. I'm sure somewhere at the end he will die, but not like that, you know. Let this guy have his happy ending and let him have his daughter and everything else. But because they already built that flashback scene, then you clearly see that that's not going to happen. And maybe he goes into another dimension, another Earth, and lives there. It just seems a little bit unnecessary, you know. Like, I feel that the character deserves better. If somebody does have to die, then sacrifice someone else. Superman, you know, or like someone who is from another Earth and stuff. Yes, the impact is not going to be just as big as someone that you really knew. And I kind of wonder if it was Stephen Amell's idea, or the producers, or both of them, or all of them, because in all the recent interviews, he's talking about it like it's going to be a happy ending, but he doesn't look happy. He actually looks very sad. And you know that even though he says it's a happy ending, it's probably not going to be. Which is a shame. I kind of wish they ended it. And now this frustration is in me, like, no way what's going to happen. I have to wait God knows how many months, you know, until the actual thing come out, and I already know what is happening. Usually the TV shows don't do like that. They don't, well, Flash did, but with Iris dying, but you knew that's gonna change. Whereas here, you know it's not gonna change, and that it's gonna carry on. It's a shame. It really is a shame. So it's not that I feel betrayed, but I feel like they could have done character a justice without having to resort to this kind of a solution, you know, of killing off the character. And is there anything else there that I want to add to that? Yeah, it's kind of sad, because then there would be a possibility for him to come back, maybe in the future, maybe as a cameo, maybe as something else, maybe he will, like he said, I'm not completely done, like I feel like I'm not completely done, but that way there would be a space open if, in case he wants to come back. And I wonder, like, when Felicity left from the show, like, how much did that change the whole narrative and the structure of what season 8 was supposed to be? And now the show is gonna, I think that season 7's ending was the end of the Arrow for all of us. And that's what they said as well, that Stephen Amell said, like, none. But what is actually happening now is that he said that season 8 will be kind of more like season 1, but each episode is going to be self-contained story leading up, at least the first 3, leading up to the Crisis on Infinite Earth. And I just don't know how that's gonna go through. Maybe it's gonna be the best season ever, maybe not. We'll see, I guess. What I want to know from you, if you can leave the comments below, do you agree with the way they want to end the show? Do you think it's a proper send-off for a hero, or do you think that this guy actually deserves to have his happy life away from the screen and so on? Because I don't know, I feel like it's just a bit unfair, because we always see him struggling, always emotionally. He's like burdening the worst shit that from the whole world, you know, on himself. So yeah, if you like this video, let me know in the comments below what do you think, and appreciate the time that you spent watching it I hope you enjoy season 7, episode 22, and of course, I hope you're looking forward to the season 8 as well. And I'll be on that journey together with you, and we'll see how it all ends. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later.